What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, and we're returning to the Great Band Era compilation graciously sent by Kim. As always, major shout out to you. And indeed, she actually made available a random selection of tunes for this coming weekend. I'll explain more when we get there, but I wanted to mention to you, Kim, I am going to do reactions to at least a couple of those, so I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, we're going to listen to the next tune on the first record of this compilation, which is Moonlight Serenade. I very much enjoy the phrase, and even though it sounds familiar, I don't think I've heard a tune by this name. At least I can't recall any melody or lyrics, and I believe the songs are all presented in instrumental form, even if some of them have later lyrical vocal versions. And in this case, it is composed, or rather performed by, the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and then it says under the direction of Tex Beneke. So yes, apparently, I'm guessing this is a guest conduction or direction, meaning I would expect Glenn Miller to be the one normally directing the Glenn Miller Orchestra, but apparently this is a bit more complicated. In any case, I like the idea of a Moonlight Serenade, a song meant to soothe and or please a particular listener, and a Moonlight Serenade is one performed or given under the shining moon and the nocturnal atmosphere that suggests. So yeah, I do wonder if it'll have a bit more of a nighttime feel sonically, although of course that is a subjective assessment. In any case, let's give it a listen. This is Moonlight Serenade by the Glenn Miller Orchestra under the direction of Tex Beneke. Love it. It definitely, it definitely has a slow dance at the end of the night type of feel. I also feel like it has a bit of the old-timey movie music score quality to it, and maybe that's partly influenced by the fact that I did just do a watch-along for a 1930s film recently, which, if you didn't know, I've now done, I think, like 8 30s film reactions over on my Patreon, which I have a multi-DVD collection, which is called, like, Forbidden Hollywood, meaning they're films before the Hays Code was instituted, so some of them are a bit more risque or feature themes that only a decade later, by the time you get to the mid-40s, were not allowed in Hollywood films. And yes, it really sounds like a moment in one of those films where two people are really gravitating toward each other and they're at a bit of a threshold moment and maybe giving in to the idea of being in love, though in those movies there tends to be complicating factors, and maybe one person hasn't fully indicated what their background is, or there's something lurking just waiting to cause a problem. So it feels like a moment of that sort in a movie like that. I love the saxophone when that comes in. Of course, that's a particularly nice sonic detail, which a minute or two into this I didn't really expect. But yes, I love the woodwinds, I love the melodic flow. It really does have a serenade quality to it, so it's a well-named piece. And yes, ultimately I think it's performed very nicely. You can see yourself at a 1930s or 1940s type of, ballroom dance, and ultimately the emotion, even without lyrics and vocals, I think comes through. There's a real, like, warm heart, like yearning or reaching out to someone else type of feel to the sonic, so absolutely enjoyed it. Once again, shout out to Kim for this and the Magical World of Melody compilation, which I'm still in the early phase or stages of going through, and also shout out to Kim for sending some tunes. More on that coming this weekend, so keep an eye out. Let me know what you think of this, and I will see you next time. Peace.